Hello everyone and welcome back here on the ChainLog YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about Bitcoin and specifically on on-chain analysis, looking onto the major indicators that you see right here, that we will assess why we bounced off from the lows, and we are going to talk about the possible resistance we have ahead, plus some kind of analysis that I find interesting. So stay with me as long as you can. And one thing first, before starting, I ask you to subscribe, share, and like this video, to click the notification bell, and to follow me on the other social networks. All the links are in the description, and specifically and more on Twitter because I'm more active there. So let's get into what is today. Bitcoin, Bitcoin. So here we have the Bitcoin at 30k. So what we can expect from it? First, you see right here that the last week we managed to get the two entries before getting all the TPs, even the last TP zone where we were at, and now we are more or less still there. From 2 days from now, I will change this TPs. I will put entries there and TPs to the upside, and we'll see where the price could go in the short term. But as of right now, what I see, and you'll see it right here, is that it is overextended. But in the short term, we have the daily 70 RSI that is at 30.5k. We have the upper Bollinger Bands of 31.5. We are overextended to the upside, so we needed to cool off these indicators, and we need time for that. We need time not only on that side, we need time also on the weekly, because you see yourself that we touch almost the upper Bollinger Bands here at 31k, well 31.8 it is right now. So we need time to get there. So we have the 70 RSI on the weekly that is a 34.6. That is a major resistance we have had in terms of technical analysis, but as well into the monthly we have the 33k first that are another resistance ahead, and yeah, nothing major. We are still above the middle Bollinger Band, so we have the possibility to go up in the next month. But one thing that I that I want you to be to know is that we have above the 33k level on the monthly 26 SMA. We have the 34.5 that is on the upper Bollinger Bands, the upper 70 RSI on the weekly. In fact, we see 70 RSI more or less here, and we have the 0.38 to Fibonacci at 36k level. That's from technical analysis. So we go now into the on-chain after we assess, as always, the fact that we bounced off from the 200 on the weekly. That helped us sustain the price. In fact, these are the 200 on the weekly chart right here, and this 200 right here helped us sustain the price. It's more accurate, and I will say that to you as well. It's more accurate if you watch it on the Bitstamp price charts. So let's get into what it is today. Address bands realized price. We bounced off from the AMBEX realized price. You see right here. This is the AMBEX realized price. Is still 24.5. So we have a lot of support right there. Plus shark support. AMBEX are orders that have 10k more Bitcoin, or and sharks are 100 to 1000, and whales 1000 to 10k Bitcoin. So we have these three realized prices that are the major supports we have right now. They are still at 24.5k, 23.3k for sharks, and 20.8 for whales. And in fact, if we take all the price we have right here and we put it on just these three categories of orders, we see that in the majority of cases are these categories of orders are those that are actually sustain the price, or when we fall down we drop very much into the bear market. So I will say to give an eye on these categories of orders in the coming month and in the coming years. In the next in the case we fall back below, it's time to accumulate more. So another thing here instead that I want to talk about for the fact that we bounced off is the 6 month. You see right here that 6 month are actually the resistance. Meanwhile, we are in a bearish trend, and the support when we are into a bull market, okay, into a bull trend. And in this case, we changed the direction of the bearish trend into a bull trend. In fact, you see right here that we bounced off from the 6 month or less orders, or the short-term holders in general, most likely exactly on a linear chart, and we are still hanging out right here. So if we keep going like this, up and down, and we kept using it as a support, well, in that case, that will be the moment where to enter for a short to mid-term trade. So let's get into another chart again, and we see here the 8 bands realized price distribution. That's not to confound with the just bands realized price, because this is an average. Meanwhile, this is the distribution that happened on chain. So for example, we have orders 6 months to 1 year in all from 16k to 24k and so on, and we see how much of them, for example, not only the average, but how much of them have, for example, have their cost basis of 17k and are the majority in this case, and how much of them, for example, are 20k. So in this case, we see that the majority of support we have coming from 6 to 1 year and onto 3 months to 5 months, more or less, comes back down from 30k to the 20, and so obviously the majority of short-term holders just have their cost basis right here, and we have these supports. And what we can expect going forward is from 36k, in fact, to start seeing a lot of resistance to 40k. Okay, so from 36k to 40k, it will be a huge resistance for us, because we have 1 to 2 years holders that have their holdings there and still are waiting to exit maybe their cost basis, and 2 to 3 years holders as well. So we can expect that, and we can expect also at 43.5k to see a lot of resistance. In terms of support, we're still there, 24k, and to the downside. All of these are obviously AMBAX, sharks, and also the other categories, but they don't actually we don't take them in consideration, because the majority of them just DCA into the market. So I saw going forward that we had some selling going on lately at these price levels. Obviously we were sold, so that's okay, but where they come from? They come from the majority comes from the short-term holders right here that takes profit from below the 16k, 20k, and so on. So they're actually taking profit, huge profits, in fact, because here you see sell bubbles. So happened in the last 30 days. That means that the little bubble you see right here is 250 Bitcoin. The biggest bubble are also 2,000, 10,000, and so Bitcoin that are happening as a sell bubble. And we see now where they come from. The majority come from short-term holding, some are from the very top of the bull market, and some of them actually from very below, even from like 250 to 300 Bitcoin, even from the very depth here at 4K of the bear market 2018. We see how much the realized price is, more or less half a billion. We got half a billion, more or less, 7.8 million from plankton, as you see. So that really don't really much. We can actually take those out, shrimps, crabs, and so on, because the majority of this come from sharks, whales, and ambex. As always, they are manipulating the price, and that's what's happening. And we see that we have more or less 0.4 billion, so $400 million of profits. Not really much, but you see yourself, thousands of bitcoins just sold there at this price. Gives us more or less the same amount that we put on sell wall right here. And we need time. We need time to cool off everything, to re-enter. These people that took profits right here to re-enter, because they are short-term holders. How do I know? Because if I take out this right here that are 4 to 8 years and so on, 2 to 3 years holders, what remains of the majority of the price are short-term holders, and short-term holders are actually those who are actually taking profits right here, 0.5 in the majority, and also 6 months in 6 months as well. So 0.5 billion you see yourself as a realized price from short-term holders, people that have 1 day to 6 month holdings, let's say. There is also a little bit of selling, as I already said, coming from 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years, but it's not really much. We are taking into account like just some million, like 10 to 20, 30 millions, let's say exactly how much it is. For example, coming from 4 years is like 50 million, 60 million dollars, really much. And what else? We have the same address cost basis distribution, but in this case, taking in comparison to this is the amount of cost basis distributed not by the amount of time hodled, but by the amount of Bitcoin hodled. So here we see that the majority of supports we have still at 17k as the major resistance on chain and major support on chain, and other supports we find from, as we already said, whales, sandbags, and so on. So if we take out this that we don't really need to see their amounts, let's say fish, shrimps, and so on, so that to be more clear here, we see that the majority comes from sharks, whales, and ambex, and we see that we have 27k as a support, and if you fall down from 27k, when we go back, we probably go back even 23.5k, 24k to retest this level. So if we fall back down, 26 is going 23.5. If we're going back to 27, probably we go 26, retesting 26.5 and 26. These are the supports, and going forward we have also 28.5k as a support is really huge. We have also the resistances at of 39 and 40k. So in this case right here we have more or less the same resistance as 40k, but there isn't this going forward resistance that comes instead from these categories of hodlers, 1 to 2 years hodlers, that are not actually ambex and so on. They are probably just shrimps, plankton, crabs that just you see yourself, and fish that actually creates this kind of stairs to the 40k. So this is what we can expect the price to reach in the very last cases. So we see, in fact, we already saw that this was the majority of people taking profit. Here we have, I will say, a curiosity for you, but in the major cases, it's just interesting to see that people who DCA weekly for 1 year, and we have the return for them for their wallets. Every every bull market realize a lot of profits. Obviously, returns. This is the amount of returns, so the X's they make every time in the aggregate when they keep realizing profits. So we have the DCA for 1 week, for 1 year, weekly. DCA weekly for 1 year. This is the amount of return they add as for this strategy, and we see that they reach the peak into the all-time high, and all of these categories in reality we see that more or less they reach the peak together into the all-time high. So this is a interesting charts to watch in the case for all-time high to happen as a confirmation metric to see if there is this amount of huge realizing profit above like 4, let's say 4 to 6 for the next bull market for all the categories of hodlers. So we'll see. We have the DCA for one weekly for 1 year. In this case, we have the lump sum for 1 year. So they just wait 1 year and lump sum in the sense that they just made one entry, okay, or exit into 1 year, and in fact the return is like 24k in 2017, and it is like 12x into 2021. And we have the DCA monthly for 2 years that they have a return here of 6.8 more or less, and here they got 25x. And the lump sum for 2 years, so others they got 15.4x. So we see anyway that if we just wait 2 years from depth of the bear market, more or less, or anyway, not only the depth, but let's say 2019 anyway, more or less from the depth of the bear market, and we wait 2 years, more or less, we have a huge returns on profit on investment than DCAing in comparison to DCAing monthly for 2 years, for example. Or anyway, we can see that also just taking profit 1 year before the bull market, obviously, and waiting just 1 year to realize profit gives a strategy of 11, 12, let's say, X's instead of DCAing weekly that goes just 5 X's. So obviously this strategy is more simple because you DCA and you don't have to worry. This instead is just a question of nice has and luck. Also this I will say, but in the majority of cases you can take all of them put together and say, well, we are in a bull market, we are at the top for the major indicator, are at the top, we are at the top for this indicator as well, and in this case we can take it as a confluence. So this is everything I had to say today. I hope you enjoyed the content. As always, I wish you the best things in life, money, health, and love. And another thing, again, is to share, subscribe, and put likes, to click the notification bell, and to follow me on the other social network to support my work. And I will say thank you. Thank you very much. Stay with me. We'll see you next time. Cheers.